What's going on, everybody? Welcome into another episode of the Fantasy Football Busters podcast. We were recording this on a Thursday, November 3rd. My name's Eric. My guy over there, his name is Will, and he's faceless right now. If you've joined us for any of our other start sit videos up to this point, then you know why. We're doing that again today. So let me explain it to you if you haven't joined us before. We do these start sit videos for you guys. We put together a list of players that are kind of borderline flex plays, that you could be deciding between when setting your lineups each and every week. And so we try to help you make those decisions. And so if you do get anything valuable from this, leave us a like, comment, all that good stuff. That helps us out a lot. And also, if you want your sit start questions answered on our next video, drop them in the comments and we'll be able to do that for you. But back to my explanation, we wanted to make it fun for us as well. So we made it a little bit of a competition. Whoever gets the most right wins. Whoever loses has to show up to the next episode in a costume or a mask or a hat or whatever it is. It's just got to be funny. So I haven't seen it yet. Can't wait. Will, what do you have in store for us this week?
Yeah. Oh, whoa. We got a second wall.
What do we got?
What's going on, brother? Man, I've been on a journey, man, of self-discovery. I've been out in the woods. I've been trying to learn the ways of the forest to maybe help me do better with these start sits. I've been really getting in tune with my inner nature.
Yeah, becoming one with nature, seeing if Mother Earth will tell you the start sit decisions that you need this week.
Yeah, I think I can get it done. I'm centered again. This is what's gonna get me back on the road.
I like it. I think that's a good idea. What actually are you wearing, though? What am I looking at?
So what we got here is pretty much like a ghillie suit.
Okay.
It's got a nice hood on it as well. I can throw that on there.
Oh, hell yeah.
Just to blend in the forest, be one with the trees.
What is the mask thing? You're pretty reflective there. I don't know if that's going to blend in.
Oh, you talking about this right here?
Mm-hmm. Oh, shit.
Oh, shit. That's just part of the hat, just protect my eyes from the sun, the UV rays,
Of course. Got to.
When nature's shining down its brilliance on me, you just got to be prepared. That's it,
That's well said. Well said. All right. I love it, but I don't know if the people are into it. Let's get into this video. So we got our week 9 sit starts for you guys this week. We got a lot of teams on bye. This is the biggest bye week that we've had so far, with 6 teams, including the Cleveland Browns, Dallas Cowboys, Denver Broncos, New York Giants, Pittsburgh Steelers, and the San Francisco 49ers. So we got all the positions for you guys today. We got quarterback, running back, wide receiver, flex, and tight end. Let's get it started. Will, would you like to go first, or do you want me to go first?
I would like to go second, please.
You would like to go second. Okay.
Yes,
well, I will start us off then. At the quarterback position, we got Justin Fields at home taking on Miami, or Kirk Cousins on the road against Washington. So Justin Fields has been looking great as of late. Luke Getsy, offensive coordinator and play caller for the Chicago Bears, I feel like has really kind of hit a stride, is really helping Justin Fields maximize his strengths and kind of hide his weaknesses. It's shown in his past 4 starts, especially for fantasy. I think he's been averaging over 20 fantasy points per game in those 4 starts. He's just looking a lot better. And Kirk Cousins has also been on a little bit of a hot streak. This past week, he put up, I think, 23 points. Both of these matchups are pretty juicy. Miami has been struggling against the pass. Washington hasn't been doing much better. Kirk, I don't know if you can even call it a revenge game at this point. It's been so long, but he's going up against his former team in the Commanders. I think you can make an argument either way, but I really like the rushing floor that Justin Fields brings to the table. He's been rushing for, I think, over 60, 65 yards a game these past 4 games. He's rushed in for 2 touchdowns the past 2 games. So I really like what he brings to the table on the ground. So I'm going to go with Justin Fields in this one.
Okay. I think this one, sort of like you alluded to earlier, is pretty close. Justin Fields, like you said, has a higher rushing floor than Kirk Cousins does, obviously. And Justin Fields,
Although sorry to cut you off, but did you see Kirk Cousins run his way into the end zone last week?
Is that why he hit the gritty? That
I
was why
think
he did
so.
that.
Yeah.
Oh
He
god.
turned on the Jets, baby.
Yeah, I mean Kirk
You
Cousins.
like that?
Kirk Cousins is a little bit more wily than people give him credit for, but Justin Fields going against Miami. Miami so far this year, I believe 24th against quarterbacks. However, just added Bradley Chubb at the trade deadline. So a little
Hmm.
bit beefier defense over there. Just signed a big contract this morning as well.
Yeah.
With Kirk Cousins going against Washington, Washington just got rid of William Jackson III, but they
He wasn't
also,
doing shit anyway.
yeah, it's not like he was doing anything. They weren't utilizing them correctly anyways. So being honest, I do like Justin Fields' floor. Kirk Cousins also going on a pretty hot streak as of late as well. I don't think either of these guys are a bad start, but I think
Nope.
Justin Fields, like you said, gets the edge with that rushing floor.
I dig it. Yeah, we're in agreement on that one.
Yeah.
We'll get into our second quarterback matchup here. We got Trevor Lawrence at home against Las Vegas. He's been sliding. He's been going the opposite direction as the first two guys we talked about. Or Marcus Mariota at home against the Chargers.
Yep.
So yeah, this one goes to you.
All right, so I'm going to kick this one off. Marcus Mariota, as of lately, has actually been playing pretty well as a fantasy quarterback. His rushing floor has been really what's holding that team up a lot and holding him up as a fantasy aspect. But Trevor Lawrence against Las Vegas, though. Las Vegas fucking sucks.
Yeah, I think they're 32nd in terms of quarterback fantasy points allowed.
Yeah, he's just really bad. But Trevor's kind of been struggling lately. I'm not sure exactly what's going on. Chargers defense also not the best in the world, but Atlanta has proven if they can run the ball and not throw it at all, they won't.
Right.
So I'm going to go with the quarterback that I know is going to be at least throwing the ball throughout the game, and I'm going to go with Trevor Lawrence, even though I feel like Marcus Mariota could have a better week.
Yeah, it's gonna depend for me on the game plan for Atlanta. If
Hmm.
it's similar to what we saw last week, where they still weren't pass heavy by any means compared to like league averages, but compared to what they've been doing throughout the season, they passed a lot. Um, and so if Marcus Mariota passes with that frequency again this week, I think that he's probably the right play. But it's hard to predict that, especially like you said against the Chargers, who haven't been good really against the pass or the run game. But yeah, they've been especially bad against the run, and I could see Atlanta just keeping it on the ground all day long and potentially winning the game that way. So yeah, I think because of that, it makes me a little bit nervous that Mariota's floor is going to be low with a low amount of pass attempts. And yeah, Trevor Lawrence, these both of these teams, the Raiders and the Jaguars, have been kind of struggling. So maybe it'll be close and he'll be forced to throw. And I think in this matchup, that's going to be pretty beneficial for him. So I'm going to agree with you and go with Trevor Lawrence.
T-Law.
Yes, sir. So let's move on to the running back position. We have Antonio Gibson taking on the Minnesota Vikings at home, or Khalil Herbert also at home taking on the Miami Dolphins. So this one's interesting because coming into the season, or I guess we had the situation with Brian Robinson, the unfortunate situation of him getting shot. But he was supposed to be the starter coming into the season, and obviously David Montgomery was the starter coming into the season. These guys were supposedly the backups, but now they seem to be taking over and leading their backfields. Antonio Gibson has had a fantastic 2 games in a row here, getting a lot of passing down usage, catching a lot of balls out of the backfield, and has been pretty efficient as a runner. Khalil Herbert, not as much involvement in the pass game, but he's just so efficient on the ground. I think it's pretty clear, if people didn't realize it yet, that he's the better back compared to David Montgomery there. They've both been producing at a high level for fantasy. So this one, I think, comes down to the matchup for me. Minnesota has been a little bit tougher against the run. I believe they're 10th in fantasy points allowed to running backs, where Miami is much worse. I did mention Antonio Gibson's involvement in the passing game, so that does raise his floor a little bit. But I'm nervous that if we get down big, if the Commanders get down big to Minnesota, we're going to see a lot of J.D. McKissic in there as well. So I think I'm going to lean Khalil Herbert, but just by a little bit here.
Is J.D. McKissic? He hasn't practiced yet this week, I believe. Has he?
I didn't realize that. Is that true? I don't know.
I'm gonna check and see real quick, but I'm pretty sure he hasn't practiced this week.
Okay, that would be some very valuable information because then Gibson would likely be defaulted to the passing down back.
Yeah, J.D. McKissic not practicing Wednesday ahead of Week 9 against the Vikings with a neck injury.
A neck injury.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And if that is the case, that, like you said, that's some pretty pertinent information. I think that's something that I just saw earlier today, that J.D. McKissic didn't practice yesterday. But
got it.
Yeah, I think if that is the case with Antonio Gibson, Minnesota's been playing really well, and people have had to kind of stay in games with Minnesota because they will fire off. So if that is the case and J.D. McKissic doesn't play, I do like Antonio Gibson there. Khalil Herbert, like you said, it's just I like Khalil Herbert more than I like David Montgomery. I think he's been the better running back over there. But they have had this pretty much 50-50 split so far. No one's really taken headway there. And I think Antonio Gibson has kind of claimed that lead back role for this offense so far. So, yeah, I'm going to go Antonio Gibson here as well.
Okay. Yeah, I think Antonio Gibson is probably the right decision. I'm going to stick with Khalil Herbert just for the sake of the video. We're just going to go with it. I didn't think about it. Miami's defense hasn't been as good, but obviously their offense has been scoring a lot of points. So it's still possible that Chicago could be playing from behind, have to pass the ball, and more David Montgomery touches. What was that?
That was my phone.
All good.
We're all good.
So, yeah, honestly, I think that Antonio Gibson is probably the play, but I'm going to stick with Khalil Herbert, and we're going to see what happens.
Hell yeah.
And then on to our second running back matchup. We got Michael Carter going up against the Buffalo Bills or Devin Singletary in the same matchup on the other team going up against the New York Jets.
This is a crazy head-to-head right here, but we're going to try to take this one apart piece by piece. So we got Michael Carter for the Jets, who I believe, honestly, he's going to be the lead back in this offense, even though it's going to be sort of a committee approach, I believe, between him, James Robinson, and whoever else the fuck the Jets have working into that mix.
Ty Johnson.
Yeah, Ty Johnson. Yeah, shout out UMD.
Hell yeah.
Or Devin Singletary versus the New York Jets.
Go Terps, baby.
Yeah, but the Bills just acquired Nyheim Hines as well. So it does make things a little bit tougher. Devin Singletary probably not going to get worked into the passing game as much when you acquire a Nyheim Hines. I'm going to go Michael Carter in this instance. I think that there's more of a focus, at the very least, there's more of a focus on Michael Carter as a receiver and as a rusher with the Jets. So he does have at least the higher, I guess, floor opportunity. This is going to be a weird game. I feel like the Jets are going to have to throw the ball a lot because the Bills, obviously they're the Bills. They should be scoring a lot. So, yeah, I'm going to lean towards Michael Carter in this instance. I think that he's going to be, at least he'll have a better day in fantasy than Devin Singletary will.
Yeah, I think I'm in agreement here as well. Singletary has been impressive, but we've talked about it time and time again on this channel throughout these videos. Singletary gets the majority of his usage, or like the heavy usage, in tight games, in games that are going to be close, or they're playing against a tough opponent. The Jets are not a tough opponent. They're not going to need to put him out there as a bell cow. They like to split up the workload in games where they feel like they're going to be winning. And I think that's going to be the case. And like you said, the Jets are going to be down, and Michael Carter is clearly the passing down back there. So he's probably going to get a lot of dump offs, and that's been what's saving him the past few weeks in fantasy. I don't expect that to change. So I'm going to go with Michael Carter as well.
Tough.
So that will lead us into our wide receiver matchups. We have Romeo Doubs on the road against the Detroit Lions, or Darnell Mooney at home against Miami. So this one is kind of interesting where, Mooney has definitely been a disappointment this year. The passing volume in Chicago has been really low. But this offense as a whole, and Justin Fields as well, his individual performance has all been on the rise. They just added um, Chase Claypool
Mm-hmm.
to the mix. I don't know that that's even necessarily a bad thing for Mooney. It's hard to say because like he's far and away the best receiving option they've had. So defenses have been able to key in on him. Um, and so maybe having Claypool will take some of the emphasis off defending Mooney. But also, if they continue to pass at a low volume, you're just splitting up the pie even more. Hard to say whether it's going to be a positive or a negative for him there. Dobbs, on the other hand, has had just a roller coaster ride of a season. He had a good week last week with an amazing touchdown catch, and he gets the Detroit Lions, who's a great matchup, one of the worst defenses, probably the worst defense in the league right now. Both of these guys have good matchups. I think. Do we have any insight on Allen Lazard if he's supposed to play? I know he's questionable right now, and I think he's been practicing limited
He's the
limited
one.
practices.
He's the receiver on that team with the most likelihood of playing. As of right now, like he's questionable, but Christian Watson and like Sammy Watkins are both doubtful for the week.
Yeah. So, yeah, this one's tough. I think I'm gonna lean Dobbs. If Watson's out, if Sammy Watkins is out, if Randall Cobb still isn't back, which I don't expect him to be, even if Lazard plays, the ball's going to need to go somewhere. They should be able to pass efficiently against Detroit, even with as much as Green Bay has struggled. So yeah, I'm going to lean that direction and go Dobbs.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna mirror that sentiment as well. I think just purely off of a volume play, I think Romeo Dobbs is the option here. For Darnell Mooney, like you said, he's very talented. He's a good player. We just don't exactly know how all this is going to shape out yet. I know I've seen a lot of social media narratives pop up already with Chase Claypool is going to free up Darnell Mooney, which it should, like you said, because it's not going to be as much attention. They don't have to focus on only Darnell Mooney anymore. But still, we still don't really know how that's going to shake out. It's just a lot of conjecture. Whereas with Detroit, we know it's a pretty bad defense. As of lately, their pass defense hasn't been amazing. Jeff Okudah's been struggling a little bit. So, yeah, I think I'm going to lean Romeo Dobbs in this situation right here.
I dig it. We're agreeing on a lot of these so far. We'll see if that continues into our second wide receiver matchup. We got Josh Palmer taking on the Atlanta Falcons on the road, or Jacoby Myers at home versus Indianapolis.
Now,
this one's yours.
This is a fun one because Josh Palmer, obviously on the Chargers, they've been having a lot of injury issues at the receiver position. Keenan Allen and Mike Williams probably both not going to play. Josh Palmer, this is his first time back to action since he got injured. I believe in week 5, week 6.
Has it been that long? What he's currently dealing with is a concussion.
I think he's been out for a little. He missed 1 week and then it was the bye week. So yeah, he's only been out for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But with Josh Palmer, when he wasn't, I believe that game he got 12 targets, 9 receptions, 12 targets. So he's gonna end up being the guy in this offense so far. But Jacoby Myers has quietly already been the guy. I think he's the wide receiver 13 in fantasy right now.
Yep.
Going against a Colts defense who not super great.
Yeah, are they? I think they're second.
They're second against the pass.
Yeah, second worst matchup for receivers.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with the fun pick here, man. Jacoby Myers, he's been doing great. He's been solid, but I do like the ceiling that Josh Palmer does present here. I think he's got an opportunity to kind of lead this team. Him and Gerald Everett, of course. So I think that I'm gonna go Josh Palmer here.
Yeah, I think I'm probably going to go that direction as well. It's interesting because, like you said, Jacoby Myers has clearly been the one for the Patriots so far this season. He's been performing really well, but the matchup is tough. And also, like both of those offenses are going to be slow-paced and probably not in scoring position very often, the Patriots and the Colts. So I think if you're hoping for a touchdown from one of these guys. I think you're more likely to get it from Josh Palmer, where the defenses are both bad and the offenses are both capable of putting up points. And yeah, like you said, the injuries for the Chargers have been crazy. Mike Williams is out dealing with his ankle issue. Keenan Allen, who we all hoped was going to be back this week after the bye, is clearly still hampered by the hamstring, which sucks to see. So I think this is going to be the first game that both of them have been out. We're going to see Josh Palmer, Gerald Everett, maybe some DeAndre Carter mixed in there. But Palmer's clearly going to be the one. So yeah, I'm going to go with Josh Palmer.
Hell yeah.
And that will take us into our flex matchups, wide receivers versus running backs. Our first one up on the board is Devin Duvernay going up against the New Orleans Saints on the road, or Caleb Huntley taking on the Los Angeles Chargers at home. This one's back to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this one's interesting. So Devin Duvernay, in a similar situation to Josh Palmer, where the Ravens are dealing with a lot of injuries to their wide receiver core, and potentially at tight end as well. If Mark Andrews isn't able to go, I think he's been questionable. He could probably be like a game time decision this week. Rashad Bateman is definitely out. He's going to be out for a few weeks. So Duvernay is probably the de facto number one. Isaiah Likely, I think, out-targeted him and out-produced him last week, so he might be the real number one if he plays, or if Mark Andrews doesn't play. And they're also going up against New Orleans, who's been a fairly stingy defense. They've been struggling against the pass, but that's also due to some injuries that they've had. This is another one where I'm not sure if Marshawn Lattimore is going to play yet, but that would play a role for me. Do you know what his status is?
I can take a look.
If not, that's okay.
I can take a look and see what I can find.
Okay. But just to keep going with this one, Caleb Huntley on the other side, we talked about Atlanta wanting to run the ball in this matchup against a bad run defense in the Chargers. Caleb Huntley, I think, went 16 for 91 last week. Didn't get in the end zone, but he's clearly very involved. And if this team's running the ball a lot, he's going to be a focal point. Did you find it yet or not?
Yeah, no real insight on that one. Yeah.
All right. If that's the case, it's hard for me to depend on Duvernay for any sort of consistency. He did score last week, but it was on a rushing attempt. I'm going to go with Caleb Huntley here, and it's really close. Really close.
Okay, so just taking a look at this, I like Devin Duvernay more in this situation than Caleb Huntley. I think the situation with the running backs over in Atlanta is it's a little bit weird for me with him and Tyler Algier with the split that they have going on. I'm not really sure if it's a hot hand approach or if they're just going 50-50. Or do you have any insight as to what they're doing, or is it just...
Not really. It seems like Algier is the starter and he's the first option, but they're running enough that, yeah, Caleb Huntley gets plenty of run. I guess I didn't consider... I think Cordell Patterson and Damian Williams both got activated, they both opened their window for activation off of IR. I don't know that either of them are going to play this week, but that'll be coming soon.
True. Okay. Well, even still, whether that is the case or not, we're going to operate in the situation that they're not coming back, and it is Caleb Huntley or Tyler Algier. I do still like Devin Duvernay a little bit more. I think the team likes to get him involved. Like you said, even if he's not catching the ball, they like to get him involved with run plays, get him involved with rushing, because last week he had a rushing touchdown. People I've seen, at least I've heard commentators say, like, they kind of use him in a Deebo Samuel kind of fashion, where I don't see it as that extreme, but at the same time, I do see that they do like to get him involved. And quite frankly, they need him because Rashad Bateman going down. Mark Andrews, we're still unsure if he's going to play this week. I think this week is an opportunity for Devin Duvernay to step up again and to play well. So I'm going to go Devin Duvernay in this instance.
I dig it. Yeah, I wouldn't be mad at you or anybody for picking either of these guys. I think that's a really tight one. So let's go to our second flex matchup. We got Deonta Foreman going up against the Cincinnati Bengals on the road, or Tyler Boyd in the same matchup, taking on the Carolina Panthers.
So we got Tyler Boyd of the Cincinnati Bengals. He's going to be probably the second option there behind T. Higgins because, Jamar Chase still out. Going up against Carolina, who has let up a lot of points this season. So this is probably going to be a game where, I don't know though, Carolina's been playing kind of free too, so they've been scoring a lot of points. This is a strange one. This really is a strange one. Deonta Foreman heavily involved last week, but Chuba Hubbard was out. Chuba Hubbard should be coming back this week. However, even when Chuba was there, Deonta Foreman still got a lot of burn. I think that game he still got over 100 rushing yards. So if Carolina is telling us the truth and they are really going with a riding a hot hand approach and going with who they think is going to be who, I'm going to go with Deonta Foreman in this instance. I think they've used him a lot. His usage has been great. Cincinnati's run defense they've been pretty stout so far. They have been pretty decent so far this season, but they have seen some struggles as well. And I think Deonta Foreman is talented enough to get it done. Tyler Boyd, I don't know, man. I've seen a lot of good situations that Tyler Boyd has also not shown up in a lot. And he scares me from a consistency aspect. So I'm going with Deonta Foreman in this instance.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Foreman absolutely exploded last week, over a 30-point performance against Atlanta. And Cincinnati is coming off of a really tough loss against the Browns, where none of their defense could get it together, not their run defense or their pass defense. Chubb shredded them. So, yeah, I could see Foreman having a good game, but like you said, Chuba Hubbard is going to be back. I just feel like this Panthers team has been running too hot. They're not that good. They're not. I don't know what it is. I don't know what they're eating before games. I don't know what's going on, but they're overperforming for sure. As much as it's fun to see, I feel like they're going to be coming back to earth here pretty soon. And I think that the Bengals may not be as good as we all expected them to be prior to the season. I shouldn't say we all. I know you were a little bit down on the Bengals coming into this season.
Oh, yeah.
But disappointing to the public's perspective. But I think that they're definitely going to be better than they were last week. I think they're going to come off of that defeat pretty angry and, looking for a bounce back. So I'm going to go with Tyler Boyd in this matchup.
Makes sense.
So we are on to our last position group. We're about to wrap this thing up. At tight end, we got Taysom Hill taking on the Baltimore Ravens, or Gerald Everett going up against Atlanta on the road. So I guess this one's back to me. This one I'm actually deciding between in one of our fantasy leagues. And I'm not sure which way to go. This one's kind of tough. Taysom has been fairly consistent, but he hasn't been putting up those big games. He had the one massive blow-up game a few weeks ago. And since then, he's been putting up, close to 10 points-ish a game. Lots of rushing floor. He's been passing a little bit. We mentioned that Mark Ingram is going to miss this game, and that I think Adam Troutman is out again. So Taysom could be a little bit more involved as an actual tight end with Adam Troutman out. He could be used as a rusher more with Mark Ingram gone. I see his floor being decent, but we also just mentioned that the Chargers have been decimated by injuries. Gerald Everett is going to be probably the number 2 option in that passing offense against an Atlanta defense that can't stop the pass. This one's really, really close for me. I'm kind of leaning towards Gerald Everett. I think that's going to be my decision here, but I'm curious to see what you have to say.
Yeah, I'm mirroring a lot of the same sentiments that you are. I think Gerald Everett, like you said, he has a big opportunity to do really well. He scored at least 9.9 points, I believe, in 7 of his starts this season. And with, I think, 4 of his starts, he was able to get double digits. Obviously, Taysom Hill, he's also had some amazing games. He's won some people some weeks. And I think with Mark Ingram going out, his rushing floor does go up quite a bit as well. It's just tough, though. I think I'd have to base it off of matchups. And even still, Baltimore's defense hasn't been great against the run. Atlanta's defense not great against the pass. So I just got to go with who I think is going to get the most volume. I think with Alvin Kamara and his, sort of booming, I think they're going to be sort of riding the hot hand in that aspect. Maybe Taysom doesn't get as much burn. I do think he still will get burned. I'm not mad if you start either of these guys. But I think Gerald Everett has more of an opportunity to be more of a leader. I guess like in the passing situations, he'd be this weekend. I don't know where he would fall in the pecking order, to be honest.
You talking about Everett?
Yeah, like I'm not sure where he falls in the pecking order in terms of passing because I'm sure Eckler's probably first option.
True. I didn't even consider that. Yeah.
Maybe Gerald Everett. But I think it's a game where they're going to have to put up points. They're going to have to get the ball out there. So Gerald Everett should be one of the guys getting it. So I'm going to go with Gerald Everett here.
Okay. So we are in agreement. I think that might make my decision for me in my lineup this week. I think Donald Parham is also going to be coming back. I didn't mention that. In the only game that he's played this season, he ran a lot less routes than Gerald Everett, but I think he did get targeted a little bit. So also a little bit concerning. It's a tough one. Like you said, I wouldn't be mad at you for choosing either of these guys, but we're both in agreement on Gerald Everett. So our last matchup of the day, look who's back. It's Kyle Pitts taking on the Los Angeles Chargers, coming off of a really good game. It was exciting to see him. What did he go? 5 for 80 and a touchdown?
Yeah, 5
like
for
that.
80 and a touchdown. He actually had a really big week for once.
Yeah, really encouraging. Like we said, sorry, I'm doing the analysis, and this is your turn to go. Kyle Pitts versus the Chargers, or Evan Ingram taking on the Las Vegas Raiders.
To say, bro, I'm gonna make it pretty quick, bro. I'm gonna go Evan Ingram.
Nah, you
here.
don't get it. Okay.
I'm not taking the bait. I'm not buying it. Nice try, Arthur Smith. You really tried it, but I'm not falling for it. I'm going Evan Ingram, who I'm not going to say Evan Ingram's not even a bad pick. Evan Ingram has been he's been balling out. He's been on a hot streak as of late. He scored double digits in 3 of his last 4 games, and he's seen a combined 29 targets in those 4 games as well. He's going up against the Raiders, who were, like I said earlier, pretty shit. And they've allowed, I think, the 3rd most points to tight ends. So I'm gonna go with Evan Ingram on this one against Las Vegas. Even though I love Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, so we talked about what Atlanta did last week, where they passed more heavily than they had almost all season. I think it was their 2nd highest pass volume of the season. And Kyle Pitts was clearly the lead target. Drake London wasn't really that involved. Damiere Byrd, I think, caught like a crazy long touchdown, but it was Kyle Pitts. It was his show, and that was it. And that's really the only time we've seen that this season. So it's not a trend yet. I'm not ready to trust it. Arthur Smith has disappointed us way too many times before. We also mentioned that the Chargers are susceptible against the run, so I think that they'll probably stay on the ground for a lot of this one. And yeah, Evan Ingram, he's been on the rise for sure. He's getting way more valuable touches. He's been looked at a lot in the red zone. I watched a lot of their last game because it was the early game in London. And he should have had 2 touchdowns in that game, but he got held in the end zone on one of them that prevented him from catching the second one. So, yeah, I think Evan Ingram is definitely trending up, and against the Raiders, it's a great matchup. I'm going to go with Ingram.
Nice.
So that will do it for our Week 9 start sits. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for sticking with us till the end if you did. Yeah, we got a lot on the table for you guys. We're doing these for you. So like I said in the intro, if you guys want your personal start sits answered, hit us up in the comments before next Wednesday, and we'll put them in this video for you guys. We'll answer your sit starts live on air. So that's pretty cool if you want to do that. If you gained anything valuable from this video, if we helped you with your sit start decisions, leave a like. That helps us out a lot. Subscribe for our videos coming out down the pipeline. Check out all of the other social media platforms that we're on. And the links are down in the description. We're out on Twitter giving you guys advice on Sunday mornings before games go live. And our TikTok is starting to pop off. We're putting out a bunch of fun videos over there as well. So check those out. Will, what else you got to say before we get out of here?
Hell yeah, man. I think you covered the most of it, man. You guys make sure you do all that great YouTube stuff. Make sure you leave us a like. Make sure you comment, subscribe, be a part of the community, and we hope to see you again soon. If you made it this far in the video, we love you as always, and hope you have a great day. Peace.
Peace.
I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning again. How could I lose? I was born just to win. Could never lose, so I'm winning again. I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning again. I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning again. Minute by minute, I'm meeting the end.